O que acende a sua vontade de começar algo? Tem uma faísca em você que te chama para empreender, investir, dar novos rumos para sua vida. E para todos os seus começos, você pode contar com Santander Select. Um banco mais pessoal, mais próximo, mais humano. Um time de especialistas com olhar atento para cada momento da sua vida. Porque você sabe, só quem já deu muitos passos está pronto para continuar começando. Santander Select. Começa em você, começa agora.
Entrando em contato com atendimento ao cliente... Para muitas pessoas é um jeito fácil de arruinar um bom dia. Mas na Zendesk, nós deixamos a experiência do cliente melhor. Melhor para sua avó, melhor para o seu vendedor preferido de flores, melhor para o cara do apartamento 3A, melhor para você, melhor para todos. Porque enquanto alguns dizem que o cliente sempre tem razão, nós dizemos que o cliente é sempre humano. E, como seres humanos, queremos fazer algo melhor para todos nós. Zendesk, experiência do cliente com IA desenvolvida para humanos.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom for Physicians podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. And as you know, we talk about 4 different types of freedom: time, financial, location, health freedom. In that light, I'm bringing you guests from all walks of life that are doing things on the cutting edge, whether it's marketing, business owners, entrepreneurship, investing, and just to get the message out there, inspire you, motivate you throughout your day. So today we have a guest, Stormy Knight, and she's going to talk about winning in your local market through review generation, which is very fascinating. She's going to be talking about SEO, e-commerce, and it's just going to be a great conversation. So Stormy, welcome.
Welcome. I'm glad to see you too, Doctor.
Yeah. I know we're connected on Podmatch, and really, like I said, I'm trying to get people just from a different perspective and just get the information out there. So tell us more about your story, your journey, and we'll get started.
The quick version is 1995. I had a mail order catalog of environmental products, and I realized if I could get it up on the internet, I wouldn't have the cost of printing and distribution. So I went to the local company that did e-commerce at the time, and they quoted me an insane amount of money. And I took a look at what they were talking about, and I said, this is going to be the next big thing. Maybe I should stop selling environmental products and start selling websites, which I started a company called Net 101 because I used to rent the University of Phoenix rooms and do training on using the internet. Fast forward a whole bunch of years, web development became more of a commodity that, they were teaching it in high school. So we had several properties that we had built out, and we learned a lot about search engine optimization as part of that. And when we sold them, we said, well, why don't we do search engine optimization? So we worked in search engine optimization. We still are working in it since about 2008. Yeah, I think that was when we sold everything. As part of that, I found that one of the things for local businesses that are the biggest piece of information that Google would like to see is reviews, and searchers want to see reviews. And I found that business owners didn't really have a clue as to what they were supposed to be doing to get more reviews. And it was a pretty messed up process. As a matter of fact, I was working with a dentist on their search engine optimization, and he said, well, I need to get more reviews. So we basically created a little sign in his office. This is before QR codes were pretty ubiquitous. And it said, like us on Facebook and like us on Google. And I went through the process and I realized this is really tough for someone to leave a review, and that's not what the purpose of the exercise should be. So that stuck in the back of my head. And when we went into COVID, a lot of people kind of went on hiatus, and we kind of said, well, what would we want to do that would have the most impact for local SEO for most businesses? And that would be simplifying the review process and getting the person to be able to have, or the business to have, multiple presences. So when you search on their name, you see a complete, you see Yelp, and you see Avo, and you see Health Grades, and you see whatever the other subheads, the major ones up at the top, Google obviously, And then all the way through the process, so that the person who sees it is just overwhelmed by, oh, well, this person's awesome, and then I don't have any problems. People are going to do due diligence in search. I mean, that's part of what SEO is about, is when someone looks up at your company, what are they going to find? And what we want, and what we want to educate people about, is what they should find is a enormous amount of evidence that you are the best choice. That's in a nutshell is what we're trying to do. The person is psychologically trying to understand, is there risk here? And reviews remove risk in people's minds. And weirdly, people trust reviews almost as much as asking family and friends, which has a lot to do with our relationships with family and friends. But they know on occasion it's fake. And I think the average person can pick out what is real and what is not. So what we want is just to give them enough evidence that they understand it. So that's what I've simplified my business down. I've been doing this in some form or another, web development all the way through since 1995. So I thought, okay, if I'm going to simplify what I do, and to be perfectly frank, search engine optimization is a bear to stay on top of. It's kind of like medicine, in that just about the time you think you have it figured out, there's some other piece of new information that's coming up, and you have to go with it, and you have to apply it to the people that you're working with on an ongoing basis. So it's a tough call, but it's what I think is the thing that's going to get the most bang for the buck for people who come in and work with us.
Yeah, it's really interesting because what you're describing is starting from the early beginnings, and I was just watching this interview with Jeff Bezos, and when he was starting Amazon, and people thought he was nuts to quit his hedge fund job to start Amazon, and his idea was because the internet's growing at 2,300% a year, and he said that if it's growing that fast, it's got to be something really big. So so it's really interesting to see your story. And really, I think like social media and search is really, really, really powerful. If you understand how to use it, you can get found easy, and can get clients. And so one thing is, I have a question, is you have this idea of setting goals to, quote, beat your online competition. Expand upon that.
Well, to take one step backward from that, about 15 years ago, Google realized, they looked at the charts, once again, growing 2,800%. What was growing 15 years ago was mobile. And they realized that everything that they did and designed to was desktop. So what they did was they said, okay, people are not going to want to scroll forever. We need to make a succinct pack of information for them that has directions if they're going somewhere, website, and reviews. And so for a while it was called the 7-pack, and they shrunk it down. Now it's the 3-pack. And that's above organic search. So organic meaning the top 10 things. So, and most people use that, whether they're on mobile or on desktop. They're saying, Google has vetted this. They've curated the content for me. I should believe what they have to say. So that process is a foot race. There's about 200 different things that Google looks like on all organic, but the number one thing that they look at on that 3-pack, which is the 3 businesses with the little bubbles and everything with the reviews, is proximity to the searcher. And then after that is the rating of the company. And then the number of reviews and some other stuff. But really the one thing that you can't change your proximity to the searcher. You don't have any control over that other than moving to a bigger city, which is a major process. So the thing you do have control over is getting more ratings, getting higher ratings if at all possible, and getting better ratings. And what I mean by better is, people write A++ and stuff, which doesn't tell the person anything. But if the person wrote something intelligent and then you responded back, the way I describe this is the review is data and your response is a story. And stories are much more powerful than data, as we can see every day in our lives. And that ability for the person, when you go online, you're usually trying to solve a problem and you're afraid of what you're going to do. And you feel that like you have risk. And so when you go in and you see, hundreds of positive reviews about something, you feel like you've removed that risk. And that's what gets people to buy stuff. The belief that you can solve the problem and the belief that they're not going to get burned in that process. So that's part of the search psychology of people. And did I answer your question?
Yeah, it's quite
Okay, cool.
And then one thing is so it sounds like Google basically curates everything. It's kind of compiles, it's an aggregator of valuable information that's vetted. And one really interesting thing is I'm interested in the psychology of your customers in search. Like when they go online, how can you use that psychology to add more value to your customer?
Well, adding value to the customer, of course, is theoretically if they do business with you, that's part of it. They're going online, they're taking a look there's a thing called the pain point in general marketing. And that's a question or problem that they're looking for an answer or a solution. And if you can, first of all, in your initial statement out into the world on your website, in your body copy, to tell them you came online to solve a particular problem. We solved that particular problem. Here's other people we have solved this problem for. What you need to do to solve your problem is do this. If you lay it out that way, so that the person feels that they're being led down a path that gets them to the solution that they want, they're much more likely. 90% of the time, everybody writes about themselves. I'm great. We do great things. Isn't this great? That's not what people are looking for. They're trying to solve a particular problem. They want the communication to be directly to them and the problem that they want solved. If you do that, you're going to get people to fill out forms. You do that, you're going to get people to come into your business. The point between that is when they're collecting data and they're trying to figure out, I've got multiple choices. I need to see a podiatrist. There's 25 podiatrists in our town. Which podiatrist should I go to? You might ask your sister-in-law, because she had a foot problem a couple of years ago. You might do other things. You might look for ads. Heaven forbid, you might have a Yellow Pages in your house. But beyond that, they're going to go to Google and they're going to type in foot doctor, or they're going to type in podiatrist. And they're going to see 3 businesses. Then they're going to see maybe some pictures of feet, and then they're going to see the organic search results. Most people are never going to go back past those 3. There may be a choice of, well, I didn't know there was a podiatrist down the street. I should probably go to him. If that podiatrist has 5 reviews and they're 2 stars, you're not going down the street. You're going to go, okay, which is the next one? And then the next one is 25 reviews and it's 4.5, and they go, that sounds pretty good. And then you click through to the listing for that business, and that's when they see the actual reviews and they go, this sounds like a pretty good one. If the third one, for whatever reason, has 100 and it's 4.8, and this does occasionally happen in Google results, it's not a straight number to number thing. If they see the next one, that's gonna blow the first 2 out of the water. And if it's within whatever they think is a reasonable distance to go to a podiatrist, they'll probably call them first. If the call goes well and they get an appointment set up, they've become a new client for that number 3 podiatrist. They'll probably get another review because the podiatrist is probably asking for reviews regularly. And it'll keep cycling until eventually they will go as high as they can go relative to the proximity of that particular person. So that's the psychology from a doctor's standpoint or any other industry standpoint. The person wants to go through a simplified process of, am I going to get hurt? Is this going to be bad? Oh, it's not going to be bad. I'm good. Okay. And they're not that far. And everybody says that they're really nice and sweet and caring. And Arlene at the front desk is an awesome person. That makes me feel good. Once you feel confident and comfortable about that person, and that is reviews, that's what your website looks like, that's the tone of the writing and the communication, you're probably going to keep getting patients over and over and over again without you having to do anything other than ask people on a regular basis, hey, we'd really love it if you give us a review. And that's just, it needs to be baked into every customer conversation once the person is happy.
Você que está ouvindo esse podcast e vive no trânsito entre uma reunião e outra, só um carro poderá te dar a segurança que precisa. O Volkswagen Taos. O SUVW com nota máxima em segurança e com sensor de ponto cego, assistente de faixa e muitos outros poderes. Taos, carro com superpoderes.
Yeah, it's interesting. With very, strategic and very intentional, like marketing using, Google. I know we're coming to the end, and it's really a very deep conversation. We could do a masterclass on this, but what are 3 steps to getting more reviews for your company?
Well, the first one is make sure you have a place to send them to. That is primarily Google. So get your Google business profile straightened up, cleaned, nice, hours. Do you have ADA compliance? Are you, do you have parking facilities? The whole gamut. How to get there from the freeway? All of the things that a person would theoretically want to know. That's item number 1. Item 1A is to make sure that you have something comparable at most of the major other review sites, and that would be Yelp, that would be Health Grades, and whatever your particular industry are, have 2 or 3 other ones so that you can fill up that front page when they search on your name. The next thing is make asking part of the customer communication process, preferably at the moment where the person has reached maximum satisfaction. If you're buying a mattress, you're not going to be able to send out a review request 15 minutes after they buy it or when they buy it at your store. Same thing may be a doctor. If you're a chiropractor and you're going to go through a series, don't get a review on the first series if they're still in pain. It's not going to work. So thinking about where the point of maximum satisfaction for most of your clients is part of that process if you want to get good reviews and get a lot of them. And then the third and most important thing is respond compassionately, empathetically, and with a great deal of enthusiasm to either bad and good reviews. Bad reviews are actually, I could tell stories about why bad reviews matter. But if you're super apologetic and you say, I'm going to solve this problem no matter what, please call Brian at our office at blah, 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 blah. I look forward to finding out how we can fix this for you. That kind of response is what a person who's pissed off wants to hear. And the other part for doctors is respond in a HIPAA compliant fashion. Do not mention what it is that you fixed, even if they say it. Don't say it. Don't talk about, boy, it took us months to get your back straightened out, or whatever the problem is, or, oh my God, I've never seen a foot as gnarly as yours. Those kinds of things can get you in trouble. There have been fines for non-HIPAA compliance on responses to posts, responses to reviews. So that is a little piece of the puzzle that doctors do have to keep into consideration. But you can tell, Arlene, that she was such a great patient, and everybody here loves her. You were just so sweet, and when you brought in those muffins, we just thought it was the greatest thing ever. That kind of, you have to write your response to the person who's reading the review in the future. And when that person sees that you are this super empathetic, care-driven practice, they're going to want to go to you as opposed to, a million faceless people that never respond to anything.
Yeah. One thing is, so we know that how a lot of people would be interested in finding out more. There's certainly we could, like I said, there's so much more you can go into it because it's marketing. How do people contact you? I know you have a special discount for guests. I know you're talking about for them to work with you, and how can they follow you on social media?
Well, I'm Net 101, but the review part of the business is 5starsfast.com, the number 5starsfast.com. You can see the general information about what we do and what the software does. If you want to get the discount, it's 5starsfast.com/FinFree, FINFREE. And that will have the discount page. It will have information how to pick up our library of documents that we have for optimizing your Google business profile and some other stuff, and a presentation that I just did recently, and where you can contact me if you need to have an audit done for your particular market and who your primary competitors are.
Yeah. And for all the listeners out there, Stormy's resources will be in the links and show notes. It's been a wonderful conversation, really the importance of SEO and reviews and getting Google to curate the content for your customers. So thanks so much, and we look forward to hearing about your future success.
Great. Thanks, Dr. Lou. I appreciate it.